Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Business Lounge. I'm your host, Jess Cassidy, and today we have a special guest, Signa Sim, and I am so excited to bring her on and talk about all things marketing and ads. So let's get right into it.
Hi,
Hey
I'm so
Signa,
excited to be here. Oh, sorry.
welcome.
I'm just too excited to be here, obviously.
Oh, thank you. We're so excited to have you here today. I know that myself and our audience and stuff would just love to hear a little bit about you, how you got started, about your business, and what you do.
Yeah, it's definitely a story, but I guess it's kind of like a typical business owner story. I started my first business really early. I was 21, and I just moved into England, so I was like in a new country where I didn't know anyone, and I thought, what's the best thing to do? Let's start a business, right? In a country that you don't understand, you don't know anyone, you don't know how the legal stuff works, nothing. And I started with beauty services because I had already had experience with that, and I was really passionate about what I was doing. And after a while, I was really struggling to run my business and get clients. So I was literally hustling so much. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I immediately started doing like marketing for myself. So I was doing everything that I had read about. I was watching every YouTube video, every guru. I was reading every single book that I could get my hands on. I was doing like writing blog posts. I was posting on websites. I was posting on Gumtree or like Greg's List, I think it is in the US. So, and I was posting on Instagram, I was posting on Facebook, I was like doing posts on Facebook groups. Like I was just doing everything that I could to get clients. And then I would go and do the clients from 9 a.m. till 8 o'clock. And then I would come home and continue doing the marketing or answering messages and stuff like that. So after a while, I remember I was coming home. No, I was going to work, sorry. And I was so tired because I had been working for like 12 days straight. And I came from that tube station, which is like subway or something. And there was a stairs, and I literally fell down the stairs because I was physically so tired I couldn't lift my legs.
Oh, wow.
It was horrible, but I was so embarrassed. I was literally like just trying to get myself out of the station because I was so embarrassed. Everyone was just like asking if I need an ambulance or something. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I was just like, I had a limp. I couldn't walk.
It's my pride.
Yes, it's so embarrassing. But that 10-minute walk from that station to my shop was like the most like thoughtful walk ever because I was so angry because I was just thinking that that's not why I started my business. I didn't come here to work myself to the ground. Like everything was crumbling around me, like my health, my personal life, everything. So I literally said that there must be a better way. And I started really figuring out what my problem was, which was I didn't have time, right? And I stumbled upon social media ads, they weren't like just beginning, but they had been already running, but they were quite in the early stage. And I just found them, and I found a coach who taught how to run them. And I was like, okay, maybe this will work, right? And I spent a lot of money on that coaching program, which really committed me to the process, right? Because when you're spending so much, you really cannot give in. They didn't work in the beginning because they tend to not work when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't give up. And I remember the day that they did, or when I discovered that they started working, was I came to the shop and I saw my schedule. Like I always looked at my schedule, and there was a new client who I had never seen before. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. I wonder where they're coming from. And whenever I got a new client, I would make them fill in surveys. And one of the questions is like, where did you find us? Because I was always just tracking like where our marketing was working. and she had said like a Facebook ad. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you saw an ad and actually came and like paid and everything worked out, because I had literally done nothing to get them in the salon. I hadn't picked up the phone. I hadn't messaged with them. I hadn't, I don't know, written a blog post or nothing. They had just seen my ad, pressed the link, booked, appointment online, came and paid. And it was fantastic. So after
And
that,
they already paid at the beginning.
No. They came in the salon and then paid for the service, but there wasn't any like convincing, if that makes sense. So
Right.
after that day, I obviously had the proof. So I went all in on the ads, and instead of doing all these other things, I just started focusing on launching new ads, testing new messaging, becoming better and better at it. And the best part about it was that I literally could stop doing 80% of the tasks that I was doing before. So everything that I was listing out before, I stopped doing. And I literally just focused on running the ads and then growing my team, working on the services and making sure that the clients would be happy, which was like so much to do in the first place. So I don't know how I would have managed to do all of that, and also all the content and emails and all the website, all this stuff. It's just not realistic at all. So,
and that's what everybody wants to do though, right? They want to be able to just focus on their clients and do, the work that they intend to do. They don't want to do all that other stuff of lead generating and, before you get there.
yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I obviously found that I actually love the marketing side more than the actual business side, because I burned out a lot from I was running such a big team that I learned that like managing a team is not for me. Like it's just emotionally so exhausting. And I love the marketing, and that's why I became a service provider who's offering ads as a service for other businesses. But yeah, I feel like there's business owners who love the marketing, then there's business owners who love the craft, and then there's business owners who love the team or the clients, and they just do anything they could. But you honestly can't do all of it. It's just, especially now, like with everything that's happening with social media and like all the platforms, it's even more things that you would have to do on a daily basis. It's just unrealistic for one business owner to do all of it. It's ridiculous.
And to do it well too.
Yeah, exactly. So after I was running that business for 7 years, and then I took a year off, and then I ended up doing this, which is running ads, creating strategic ads on Google and social media for other small business owners. And doing it for them completely, so they don't have to do anything themselves, and they can focus on serving the clients and building the business from that side.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's so incredible to listen to your story, because what I really took away from it was, that your time, is so valuable, and you just only have so much of it in a day, that you had the hustle mindset, and you were just basically just killing yourself, exhausting yourself, and sometimes we have to do that and crash and burn to realize, what am I doing? How can I change it? And sometimes when that happens, it leads you to exactly the right place at the right time, which is where you are now.
Yeah, I agree with it so much, because I'm a really hard worker. I'm almost like addicted to work. I think I have an issue or something, but I think a lot of business owners have that. And
it's passion.
Yeah, let's call it passion, not addiction. But I had to really burn out, and like physically, I had health issues from that amount of work, and my personal life, everything went really bad. And then with this business now, I've obviously learned that you do not have to work so hard, and no one is going to give you a prize at the end of the day if you work harder than someone else. You have to be smarter, not harder working. So I'm definitely doing things a lot differently now with this business. And yeah, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, it really is. Sometimes, we just kind of have to slow down in order to, do more, really. I just like it's such a fascinating story, and I appreciate you sharing that so much with us. And I think that there are so many of us that can really relate to that, especially as solopreneurs. And you also mentioned, how finding, that having a team just really wasn't for you. And I think that that is, just such an eye opener, because so many people, they're told that's the route that you have to go. You have to build to having a team. And not everybody is meant to be in that role, or do they desire to be? Because I feel just like you too, like it's so much responsibility. It's so much pressure, because you're not just thinking about yourself anymore and your family and your business. It's all, the other people. Are they happy? Are they doing, everything right? Am I being a good leader? Am I ensuring, everything that they're doing? Are they, putting my business first? And that's so much goes into that. So I think that that is just really awesome that you put that out there and you're like, it's just, I don't like it. It's not for me.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm really good with people, which was great, but it was so exhausting just emotionally, because you are, whenever you have employees, you are their mom, you are their coach, you're their trainer, you're like their disciplinary, you're everything for them. And it really is just giving. You don't get anything back. So you have to fill yourself in your personal life. But if you're constantly working as well, you're never filling your own cup. It becomes really draining. So I'll just learn. Maybe one day I'll be ready to do that again. But like now I feel like it's better just to take care of myself and like not have those extra responsibilities. But I really admire business owners who have that. And I do think that you have to have a special, like a skill set for that. You're just a manager or you're not, and that's it.
Yeah. And I've seen, a lot of people that are successful in that area, they bring on one person that's like a business manager or a supervisor, and they're the ones that handle all of the other people. And then you just have that one person to, go to, talk to, and they handle everything else. So I think, that might be something, that might work, especially later on, because eventually, especially in a service-based business, is you can only do so much yourself.
Yes, I agree with that as well, 100%.
And we all know. So let's talk a little bit about ads. What do you think is people's biggest struggle with doing ads themselves? And let's talk about Facebook ads a little bit, Instagram ads and Google ads, and because they're all different, of course, which I think is, one of the big problems why everybody just kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. In a sense, yes, they're definitely different. Like the buyer who goes on Google, goes on TikTok is completely different mindset. It could be the same person, but they're going there for a different reason. But what people are struggling with most is it's actually running ads is simple in a sense that it's just pressing the right buttons, and the platforms have made it's super easy for you to press the right buttons, right? Like there's so many instructions. You can Google how to run a Facebook ad today, and you can launch your campaign in, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
The problem is that people don't think about the strategy, because that is actually what you're paying for when you're hiring someone else to do ads for you. They have expertise about the strategy. Or if you want to run ads and you launch them and they don't work, it's because of the strategy. It's not necessarily that you press the wrong button, but everyone starts Googling or going on Facebook groups saying, I targeted this audience, or I pressed this, I don't know, like I did a different campaign and that's why I didn't get results. No, it's probably the strategy. And the problem with that is that not lately, but since 2020, the strategy has changed a lot as well, because I don't think marketing overall has changed, because it's still people, but the importance of like just understanding the psychology and really thinking about who's behind the click has become even more important than it was before. Because before, like social media, internet, Google, everything was so new, so that you could just like advertise and people would buy because it just looked new, or the way you did your creative, it looked new. Now, like in 2020 and what happened during it and before and after, people have become so skeptical, especially in the coaching industry. Like there was so many scammers who just made bank, and people got burned so badly that they don't trust anyone anymore. So like to get them to buy a coaching program, you have to build your trust so much longer than it was before, only because some like a competitor who just wanted to make easy money ruined the market. So sorry, did I lose you?
No, you're good. I hear you.
Okay, brilliant. So that's what basically has happened. And also like 2020, no one knew who to kind of trust. There was a lot of like issues with government, with like hospitals, with like your family and friends. So people not stopped, but became even more skeptical than they were before. Mm-hmm. And now, because of that, we can't ask them to buy a product or a service immediately when they see our business. It's just not impossible, but it's so expensive to advertise like that it's hard to make it work for a small business with like less profit margins or just a smaller budget. So we've had to change the strategy a lot, because before, for example, the coaching industry would use webinar funnels. They worked for a very long time, and the numbers were really like, you could predict if it, depending on how many signups you got, you knew how many sales you're gonna get, basically, right? But now, when we were running those webinar funnels and then came challenge funnels for our clients, we saw that every time we did that, the numbers, like the sign up expenses became more expensive. And then the amount of people who would show up on the challenge or on the webinar became lower. The conversions became lower. Even if the conversion rate was the same, the sales were smaller because people weren't watching the videos. And that's because you can't just advertise webinars anymore. People don't want to even give their email address anymore, because they're like, if I give my email address, I know I'll get spammed like immediately. And the value has to be so high for them to give the email address, right? So that doesn't mean that advertising or marketing doesn't work. It just means that we've had to change our strategy a lot, and focus on now not asking for sale or an opt-in or something, but we have to ask now. First of all, we can't ask anything. We have to first give them something, right? And we have to build a relationship, because to be honest, like every industry has so much competitors that like no one is unique anymore, right? Yeah. So what you're selling really is yourself. And to do that, you have to build a connection. So we've changed all of our strategy into building that connection, building value, and only then making a sale and asking for an opt-in or asking for anything. And that has actually resulted into much bigger profit margins for our clients. And they're not dependent on making offers anymore, so giving discounts or stuff like that. They're literally selling full price services, full price packages, because those clients who are now buying from them, they're not like being sold. They don't have to be sold. They're already sold before. And when they show up, they are like, when can I buy or how can I buy? So the whole like sales process changes as well.
So what do those ads look like? Are they just more like informational, like describing the person or the business or something, and like a learn more button? Or I mean, because since you said like the beginning when you're building that relationship and stuff, it's not really going towards an opt-in or a webinar and a sales thing. So what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, great. And if I start babbling too much tech stuff, then just like put in and say like,
no, I think everybody finds it really fascinating, honestly, because like you said, like it's very easy, like if you're going through it, every platform just walks you right through it. Like, which button do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? Fill in the blank sort of stuff. but it's so much more involved to know exactly which buttons to do that people get confused and their ads go nowhere. So I think a lot of people really find it very fascinating. So please.
Yeah. So the ads that we have developed are basically attracting. So there's basically 3% of the market is always ready to buy, right?
Mhm.
And usually we would go after those people with our ads previously for years, and most businesses still do. The problem with that is that those people are usually the most expensive to advertise because all of your competitors are advertising to them as well, and you have to make an epic offer to get them to convert, because they know they have a problem, they know there's a solution, and they just need to know why they need to come to you, right? And telling them that you're the best quality, or you can help them the best, isn't convincing enough. You have to tell that and give them an offer as well, right? So we knew we can't do that. So what we started doing is we started focusing on the step before. So not the clients who have a problem, but they don't know what the solution is, but clients who have a problem, they know there's a solution, but they just don't know the service provider who can fix that solution yet. So we created ads that would educate them on a very specific topic, because the topic of the ad is what basically attracts the right audience. So you have to pick your topic really, really well, so that you're not attracting a client who doesn't even have a problem, right? They're so far in the customer journey. You have to get them much later on. So the topic is really, really important. And then we create these ads where we educate them, and we build the owner's authority, whoever is the business owner, so that they would look at them as an expert. And then we just ask them if they want to ask any more extra questions, they can start a conversation with you. And usually we start getting sales from those conversations already. But that's not the goal at all. The goal is to really build the brand, so like that the owner would be seen as an authority, as an expert in their niche or in that problem. And then we would use retargeting ads to make the offer after they've seen those specific ads. But yeah, that's the ads that we would recommend using, basically.
And I know that there is, a lot of controversy around the ads because people think, they're so expensive. And I think, people don't take the right amount of time to let the ads work as well. So what do you recommend is the right amount for people to spend on ads to start? And also, how long do they need to let them run?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good point, because a lot of the times clients would run ads, they don't get any results, and they think ads don't work, when the problem could have been easily that you
they
just
start to panic, right? They're like, oh, this isn't working. I don't want to be charged for all of this. And then you shut them off within 2 days.
Exactly. But they would rather, work 10 hours to write content basically for Instagram or something. That doesn't even mean that they'll get sales from that. So basically what I recommend is, if you want to run ads yourself and you want to start testing, and you know that you want to use ads to grow your business, you could get started with as little as $5 a day, which is very little to start with. But you have to be cautious, in a sense that if you are working in an industry that is really saturated, so you're working with clients all around the world and it's really saturated, such as social media management, for example. There's a ton of service providers, and if you're servicing everyone in the world, the client base is huge. Then if you're spending just $5 a day, you can't expect to get results really fast. You could maybe get a client per month. If you're running ads for a whole month, you get one client maybe. But it could be that it takes 2 months before you get a client if you're running $5 a day advertising. So that means for 2 months, you can't turn off the ad. Or if you turned it off after a month, it didn't mean the ad wasn't successful. It could have just taken longer time. So that's why in the beginning, it's better to during the testing period to even spend more just to get the answers faster. And then you can make a decision. But if you are someone who is locally based and or in an industry that is not as saturated, then you could literally run the $5 a day ad, and then you should start producing in 2 weeks' time, depending on how good your ads are, right? So it really depends, but $5 a day would be a good start.
And just let that run with no end date.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that probably the easiest, no, that's fine. The easiest thing to do would be probably, start the ad running for $5 a day and just let it run in the background. So you're not even thinking about it. You're not touching it. And even if it's not getting you sales today, it's still building your audience. It's still getting you visible to the right audience. And if you're missing the messaging part, that you have a wrong messaging there, they still see you and they're building brand recognition. So your face is being recognized. So there's still benefits to having that, even that ad running.
And should they do an ad that is leading to a lead magnet, or just like an informational one, putting them in an authority or something? I know that Facebook especially always, says like they don't want people to leave Facebook. So if you're leading them away, that's always kind of a no-no in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
It's definitely true. I mean, Facebook, Instagram kind of punishes you if you're directing them away, and that's the punishment is paying for the ads, basically. Like you have to pay. Yeah, and like you would just pay more than someone who is just getting engagement on the platform. What I suggest is I would be cautious with a lead magnet. I've had clients who are really successful with lead magnets. So some of our clients are therapists, for example, and for them, they're really successful because the lead magnets are very problem-based. So there's really painful problem that the audience has, and the lead magnet solves it, right? So of course they will download it. But the problem with that is, even if they do download it and they read the first email, it doesn't mean that they'll read the rest of the emails. And after a month, they may even forget who you are, right? So your open rates go lower. So I would still recommend just running the ads, building the audience and building your reputation. And then you could do organic opt-ins, for example, or retargeting ads where you are building the lead magnet forms and just getting opt-ins. Because if you're getting people who already know you and trust you opting into your emails, they are now opening it up more as well. And with the latest, like the email updates, most of the emails are going to spam now, or like the promotion tab. So email game has changed as well. But the way to overcome it is building a connection with your audience before you even get them into the email list as well. So it's kind of the same thing.
So if somebody were to want to hire somebody to help them with their ads and, their messaging and marketing and everything, what is a good amount for somebody to start investing in ads and a service like that? I mean, I know obviously, and I think this is very fascinating, is a lot of people who, make, let's say, $500,000, on Facebook, they're spending $100,000 in ads, which sounds bonkers, but wouldn't you spend $100,000 to make $500,000? I mean,
exactly. Right? That's a really good return.
Well, yeah, that was probably terrible, but terrible estimate, but.
No, it's, it's hard to get it today with that kind of return, but it's not impossible, definitely. And there are, some of our clients do get similar returns. So if you are hiring, if you feel like you want to do ads, you don't want to do it yourself, let someone else do it for you, an expert, then first of all, to do that, you should definitely have your offers really figured out. You can't, because especially if you hire someone, if you don't know why people buy from you or what they even buy from you, and they're not doing that organically or consistently, then they need to start doing testing a lot. And for that, they have to spend a lot of budget. And then let's say first month they do a ton of testing and they don't get, like, they get some sales, but they don't get profitable sales, it's going to make you feel like the ads are not working, when actually they've just had to do so much grunt work just to figure out what is working. And now they should have an answer. And then from month 2, you should have profitable sales coming in, and it's going to grow month by month going from there. So you should definitely have your offers figured out. You should understand your audience and like what they want. And then if you want to know like how much you should start spending, I would probably say that you can get started with like $1,000 a month if you're hiring someone. If you do it yourself, then you can do it $500 and under a month. It's like a budget that you could kind of manage yourself. But if you go over 1,000, it's better to just have someone else do it, because they would have to optimize the budgets and optimize the ads, and then the money is just directed into a better place. Because otherwise you could just spend money and not really know where it's going, or into the wrong place at all. So I would say if you want to increase your budget from 1,000 onwards, that's when you should start getting someone else to do that for you. But before that, you need to know your offers, you need to know your audience, and you need to know what pricing has worked organically or like to your warm audience, because cold audience, people who've never seen you before, it's going to take so much more to get them to convert. So there's testing involved there as well, but that's normal part of just launching the ads as well.
So somebody who is brand new, just starting, let's say a life coaching business, what would be their best way to start building that authority, start generating leads and everything?
Yeah, like you could literally create those educational ads that are very specific. The step before they are already looking for a life coach. They would need to know that they have a problem. The solution is to get a coach, but they're not yet Googling or searching for a life coach. So what kind of problems does that person have? And what kind of content could show them that you are an authority, you can help them, would actually physically help them, and would tip them over from, I know I need a life coach, okay, now I'm going to hire a life coach. So it needs to be that kind of content. And if you start from zero, that would be my first thing that I would do. I would create these content pieces, like 3 to 5 pieces. I would run them as ads. Because
what kind of call to action would be on there?
The call to action could be send us a message so that I can help you further. Or like if the content piece, like the call to action could be like send me a message and I can help you more about this specific problem. And then you could physically help them in the messenger and invite them to book a call with you where you can, either help them or sell them. And you can also invite them to follow your accounts. But I don't really recommend doing that, just because there's about 30% of people who see your ads who are going to start following you anyways. Like they'll check out your account. So just one call to action is enough. And it's better to get them to message you, because that's when, if you are just beginning, you are now having conversations with your ideal clients. You're learning what their problems are, what's important for them, what they're reacting to, what they're not reacting to, what kind of results they want, right? So it's really important market research part. And you can do that with these simple ads, and it will help you so much faster rather than just relying on organic content, which is really, really hard to build up nowadays.
And do you think that people get a good response rate with the message me now or contact me buttons on those ads?
Yeah, our clients are getting messages all the time. Literally every single day, multiple times a day. And people are messaging. It's just the topic has to be, like I said, the topic is really important because you could end up having conversations with people who are not in the right place to make a buying decision. But yeah, starting a conversation it still works. It's really good. And it helps you build a connection with your audience as well.
How do you feel about ones that are like, comment here or driving people to comment on the post of the ad? Does that help, like, bring in more, make it show higher in the algorithms or anything as well?
I mean, any type of engagement, whether it's your ad or organic content, helps. It makes your ads cheaper. But if your topic is really good, people will comment anyways. You
Mhm.
can ask them to comment and you will send them a message, or you can just tell them to send a message. When we've worked with clients, we work with some of the clients who are, like the therapists, for example, the industry is really private. You cannot ask someone to comment underneath if they have depression, right? Like they're not going to say, I
Right.
have depression. I don't know if that's even possible. Or like financial advisors, we have the same, like the questions are just very personal. But with coaches and course creators, social media managers, like you could literally ask them to leave a comment to ask a question or something like that. And it will make the ad cheaper, but it's not necessary. It's definitely, it will make them cheaper, but it's not going to be that much of a significant difference for you.
So I think, a lot of solopreneurs, online business entrepreneurs and stuff, they really have a hard time with their messaging and their copy and everything. So do you think that that is something that they should hire out for or bring somebody in to help with that before they start running ads or before they hire somebody to run ads?
Yes, 100%. That needs to be. So, like, I cannot tell you how many clients I've had who come and they don't know who their niche is. They don't exactly understand what problems the clients have. And I'm explaining to them, like, okay, if we're going to do the ads, it's going to take testing then. And they just get disappointed because it takes longer now to get a result because we're testing now all these different messagings with all these different audiences. And it's all costing money. And, like if the messaging didn't work, you're not like it didn't build your business or something like that. So it's definitely more frustrating. It takes longer and it's more expensive. It's easier to invest your money into a specialist who can help you with audience research, really figuring out what your niche is, or you don't even have to have a niche, but you need to understand the problem that you're solving and who has the problem. Because when you get to the ads part, it's cheaper and better to be very specific. Like you say literally that you help single moms, I don't know, save 3 hours a week. It's so much better to be that rather than saying like, I am a productivity coach or something like that. Like
Right. Yeah.
it's like, I help everyone. Okay. If you help everyone, then it's going to, like, when you get to ads, it's still going to need to be niche down. You can't target everyone. I mean, you can, but the money is not going to be worth it. You're not getting anything back. So
Yeah.
definitely delegating or figuring that part out yourself should be step number 100%.
Yeah, and the audience, like, they're not going to be drawn to that because they're not going to feel like, oh, that's me, that I need that, that's going to help me, because they're just like, man,
Exactly.
they don't feel it.
Exactly. And when you get to ads, it's even worse because there is definitely, when people see a post that says sponsored underneath it, they will immediately ignore it or try to ignore it unless it literally calls them out or attracts them somehow. So it gets even worse with ads. So yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I know that that was really helpful and just giving people a lot of hindsight of all of that, and probably making them realize, they really need to work on their niche, maybe bring in, a copywriter or a brand specialist, and then probably hire somebody to help with their ads once they reach that point and, can afford that as well. Can you talk a little bit about your services and your company and what your packages and services look like?
Yeah, so there's 3 of us, so it's a small team, and we literally work with service providers, and we do full ads management. So we have different packages, so where you can start with social media ads and Google ads separately, or both of them together as well, which will give holistic, like an omni-channel strategy. And in terms of what we do is we take your business, we take the offer, we figure out what the clients need to hear to make the decision, and then we create all the ad copies, all the images, creatives, and then obviously we get them approved by the business owner, and then we launch them and manage them on a daily basis and do all the testing. We test out all the different images, creatives, and messaging. We optimize the ads to make them like bring in more results for the same amount of money, and then we scale the ads when they're ready, and that happens on a daily basis. And then obviously we give strategy sessions for our clients as well, where we sit down and we figure out how we can get their back end of the business better as well, because it's like as an ads, our job is to get the right eyeballs on their business, right, and as many as possible, and make offers basically all day long. This is the ads part, but we can't control like if the offer is going to go through, if the back end is not working, if the sales process is broken, or if you don't have like even reminders in your booking system that just tends to show up on a call. We can't really control that. So we definitely advise about that and how they can improve conversion rates, how they can improve show up rates on calls and stuff like that. Because we have a ton of experience in a lot of different industries now. But yeah, that's what we do as services.
Wow, that's so helpful. And you have a freebie for our audience. So if you can tell everybody how to reach you, how to contact you if they want to move forward, they want to hear more about you, and how to get that freebie, and tell them what this guide is about.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so my goal is really to help as many business owners as possible, because we can only work with a handful of people. So on my personal Instagram page, I'm really focusing on educating. And then on our agency page, we're talking more about services. But if you want to learn the strategy that I was talking about, and overall, like how you can use social media ads to grow your business, then you just need to send a DM to our Instagram, which is at the PACC.ltd. And I'm sure Jess is going to have links somewhere.
Yeah.
And if it's DM playbook, I will send you the playbook completely free, literally showing you how you can use social media ads to grow your own business. And it shows you the full strategy, and there's tons of tips in there. So it's super valuable.
Wow, that is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody.
Yay, I'm super excited about always helping people so they don't have to suffer like I did back then.
Yes, we are all suffering. Thank you so much, Signe, for joining us today. We will have all of the links, how to reach her, to grab that guide and everything else. We really appreciate it. I think we have all learned so much. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that I got to come here, and hopefully the listeners got tons of nuggets, or at least one nugget that they can go and fly off with, and then write to Jess like, hey, I love that ad. I launched it, which is great. So I'm really grateful that you invited me here.
Yes, thank you so much. And hopefully everybody, got some of those tips and nuggets to walk away with, and maybe get some more leads and sales in their business. So again, thank you so much. And everyone else, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And we will see you next time.